Hey, good afternoon, it's Tuesday and the Lairy Biker is out in the sunshine. Oh, it's like a veritable summer's day out here, gorgeous day, and I'm on footpaths today, so no crash helmet. A couple of things have happened over the weekend that have made me think again about the kind of language that we use to talk about ourselves and to describe things and situations. And the language that we use makes us feel worse about stuff that isn't really as bad as we think it is. I want to tell you a story. A little story. I was listening to a conversation between a group of friends, and one of them had just come back from a fabulous holiday. She'd been away for several weeks, and she'd caught up with her son and her grandchildren, and absolutely over the moon. She walked into the room, and all her friends are there and say, "Hey, how are you? How was the holiday?" And she's so excited and so happy to have been out there and seen the family. And a couple of minutes into this very excited, very animated conversation, one of the group said, "Oh, what a long flight though, long flight, what about the flight? Was that long, that flight?" And everybody else joined in and said, "Oh yeah, long flight must have been really long. Was it tiring? Well, must have taken it out, yeah, that flight." And then someone else piped up, "Oh, must have been hot. Was it hot? Oh, was it really hot? Must have been so hard on you being that hot." And in 2 minutes, this lady's gone from being elated about her fabulous holiday to thinking, "Wow, what a crock of shit that holiday was. Christ, I'm glad I'm home." And it's, okay, I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. And the point is that all of you, all of us, know people like that, don't we? We know people who can drag us down in less than a second, no matter how happy we are, no matter how good we're feeling. These people can just drag the mood right down, right through the floor. And you know the funny thing? Well, it's not funny, it's tragic. Okay, I'm crossing roads, but I'm only crossing them. I don't need a crash out, okay? The funny thing is that although we know who those people are, we never tell them, do we? We never say. You know when you get into the office in the morning and you're all chatting away and you're all happy, and Doris walks in. Doris has had a terrible journey to work, even though the rest of you sailed through. Like you've all got your cup of tea and your custard creams, and you're sitting around having a lovely chat about the weekend. Doris walks in, she's had an awful journey. Her journey was awful. The roundabout was clogged up and someone pulled out in front of her. And within minutes, you happy bunch have turned into a right bunch of misery gutsies who can't wait to get to your desks and be rid of Doris. And the funny thing is we never tell them. We never tell these miserable people to shut the duck up and get out of our lives, do we? Because very often, I would venture to suggest that those people we kind of know in our heart of hearts are not the happiest people, are they? We kind of almost pity them at the same time as wanting to punch them right on the nose. But here's the thing. Very often, that misery gut is ourselves, it's us. Are you the kind of person who talks yourself down? Are you the kind of person who kind of almost resents yourself being in a good mood? Kind of don't like stuff going too well for you? And I want to tell you a story. Several things have happened this weekend that have made me think about this. And someone said this morning, "I'm not in a good place." And it really made me think, okay, this lady's got a little bit of crap going on in her life. Things could be better for her. But she's also got her life and her health. Lovely family, lovely husband, lovely daughter, lovely son. And her comment on a Tuesday morning was, "I'm not in a good place." Picture this. You've won the lottery. You're finally able to afford your dream holiday. You wake up in your little beach hut, right on the beach in the Maldives, your first morning on your dream holiday, and you've got a banging headache. Do you say, "I'm not in a good place"? Or do you say, "Bugger, would have preferred to have not woken up with a headache, but look at me, look at this glorious place that I'm in"? That's the difference. bad language makes to your life. Bad language. I'm in a bad place, excuse me, or I'm in an amazing place, but I'm temporarily having a bit of a crappy time. So think about your language this week. Think about how you could describe things differently, how you could talk about things differently, how you could, when you're going through those pooey phases where nothing seems to be going right, how could you describe them differently to yourself and not be Doris? Don't be Doris. Don't be the Doris who's having a miserable life and everything's going wrong. Be the one who's standing there with your cup of tea and your custard creams, talking about the good stuff. Because the good stuff really can outweigh the crappy stuff. And it kind of makes me a bit sad sometimes that there are those people who just can't see what a lovely life they have. You know, I know what it's like when you go through those times in your life when every single god of every single religion in their respective heavens and paradises conspire against me and everything goes wrong. Every single god has taken their eye off every other sinner in the world and they're focused on me, and they're going to make my life a misery for just a few days. Never works. I smile through. So just this week, have a think about how you could differently look back on the last few days, and instead of focusing on the 1 or 2 or 22 things that didn't go quite right, think about the things that are going right. Think about your family and your health. Oh, don't start. I know you've got a cough, but, you know, generally speaking, you're alive, aren't you? Think about your health, and think about your life, and think about all the things that you are blessed with, and maybe focus slightly less on the stuff that isn't going quite right. Because, do you know, the irony is, unless you understand that generally speaking, on the whole, your life's pretty bloody good, you won't ever find the energy to put right the things which you believe are not quite right. So have a go at that for me this week. Just try to change your language when you're standing gossiping with your girlfriends or having a beer with your boyfriends, or mix and match. Hey, it's the 21st century. Think about how you could differently describe the stuff that hasn't quite gone right. Put a positive slant on it if you can, and you will feel differently. You won't feel so resentful, and you will find the energy. This is how it works. When you think differently about the crap that's going on in your life, you find energy, and you find a way to deal with it. You find a way to come to terms with it. If there is crap that you cannot deal with in your life, do you know what? Live with it. You can either start moaning about it every single morning when you get up, or you can say, okay, well, that shit is going to affect my life today. I'm going to live with it. I'm just going to learn to live with it. I'm going to learn to accept that that's going to go on, whether I like it or not, and I'm going to live with it. So that should... Sorry, I just saw a guy out jogging. He looks like he's dying. Not literally. So that's your task for this week. And I'll talk more specifically about it tomorrow, maybe. Think about how you could use different words. Just describe the stuff that isn't quite right in your life differently. And maybe don't be so hard on yourself, because what you're doing is what Doris does to you in the office every week. You're dragging yourself down, and it's not fair, and it's not pretty. I can't believe what a glorious day it is today. This is the Lairy Biker signing off. Think about that, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.